She was an Olympic swimmer who never imagined wearing a tiara. He was the playboy prince who already had to acknowledge children outside wedlock. Their first hello happened at the edge of a Monaco pool in 2000. 11 years later, the same world watched a $17 million wedding dripping with diamonds, opera singers, and fighter jet flyovers, yet the bride was in tears. Was it the happiest day of her life, or the moment a fairy tale turned into a gilded cage? Stick around, because the twists after the vows are even wilder than the headlines. Picture this: June 2000, at the Mare Nostrum swim meet. Charlene Wittstock, a determined 22-year-old, was chasing a last qualifying time for the Sydney Olympics. Prince Albert Grimaldi, already 42 and Monaco's heir apparent, was there in a ceremonial capacity, applauding politely from the VIP section. No dramatic slow motion, eye contact, no swelling movie score, just a quick, formal handshake in a busy VIP tunnel. Not exactly the stuff of storybooks, right? But sometimes, destiny has a funny way of nudging things along. Friends say Albert, despite the 20-year age difference, was intrigued enough to Google her that very night. Charlene, on the other hand, left the next morning for training camp, probably never expecting to see him again. She was an athlete, focused on her sport, not on princes, but Albert. He loves a project, and it seems Charlene became one. 6 weeks later, a polite follow-up email about sports development in South Africa landed in her inbox. What followed were months of surprisingly deep, nerdy threads about stroke technique and African wildlife. Who knew a prince could be so into competitive swimming and conservation? It took a while, but she finally agreed to a coffee the following spring. Their connection, initially rooted in shared athletic passion, slowly blossomed. By 2006, Charlene had retired from competition and was seated right next to him at the Turin Olympic opening ceremony, in full view of every camera lens on Earth. The fairy tale optics certainly began here, signaling a serious relationship, but so did the intense scrutiny. The pressure was already mounting. So much so that she still called him Mr. President in interviews because palace protocol and perhaps a need for emotional distance demanded it. Dating a prince sounds glamorous, doesn't it? Until you actually try it. For Charlene, it meant a complete immersion into a world vastly different from her South African roots. Her first Monaco National Day Parade included wearing a tiara that weighed almost a kilo and navigating a seating chart that placed her between two billionaires who spoke only French. Can you imagine the culture shock? She had to learn the language, and she did, mastering French in just 9 months. She even worked to soften her distinct Springbok accent and traded her comfortable jeans for elegant sheath dresses. Yet, despite all this effort and transformation, she'd still wake up to French tabloids cruelly dubbing her the swimmer with the shoulders. Meanwhile, Albert was constantly in the public eye, denying breakup rumors every single season: 2007, 2008, 2009. And each denial, almost unbelievably, coincided with new paternity suits being filed against him. 2 of these claims were later proven true, adding layers of complexity and public scandal to their already scrutinized relationship. Through it all, Charlene stayed. It couldn't have been easy, but she later told Paris Match that she refused to quit on a promise. What promise? Exactly. Perhaps a promise to herself, or a deeper understanding with Albert. This quiet determination paid off, at least outwardly. When the promise became official in June 2010, Albert presented her with a stunning 3-carat pear diamond engagement ring, a piece that once belonged to his legendary mother, Grace Kelly. The principality, it seemed, collectively exhaled. Finally, a legitimate heir to the Grimaldi throne appeared to be on the horizon. They initially scheduled the religious ceremony for July 9, 2011, but then moved it forward by a full week. Why? To avoid clashing with an International Olympic Committee (IOC) session. Yes, Monaco is that small, and its sovereign is that intertwined with international sports. The entire principality geared up for the event, declaring 2 public holidays. Hotels, sensing the influx of global attention, jacked up their rates by 400%. And the palace even issued a commemorative stamp featuring the couple in Olympic poses. It was a massive spectacle in the making, designed to reinforce Monaco's glamorous image and its status as a desirable destination. The civil ceremony on July 1st was pure bureaucracy, albeit with a side of dazzling diamonds. Charlene wore a chic Chanel sky blue ensemble, while Albert pinned the Order of the Grimaldi on her lapel. The guest list included 76 relatives, but tellingly, not a single +1 from Charlene's swimming days. It was a clear sign of her new, isolated, royal reality. The very next morning, 3,500 guests gathered in the palace courtyard for the religious service. Giorgio Armani, ever the master, shipped in 45 meters of silk duchesse for her gown, complete with a train that literally needed 3 pages to carry it. The guest list was a who's who of global influence, ranging from the Beckhams to the King of Swaziland. French fighter jets soared overhead, tracing a perfect white heart above the port, and the couple waved from the very balcony where Grace Kelly once smiled. It was a picture-perfect royal wedding. But then, cameras zoomed in. Charlene was in tears. British papers screamed headlines like "Runaway Bride," drama, the rumors of her trying to flee Monaco in the days leading up to the wedding. GLY over new revelations about Albert's past suddenly gained traction. Charlene later explained that she was simply overwhelmed by the moment, a whirlwind of mixed emotions and the immense tension from the rumors. However, palace insiders quietly admitted that she asked the archbishop to shorten the homily during the ceremony because she feared crying again. She even placed her bridal bouquet at the Centivote Chapel, a monogamous tradition, shedding more tears as she did so. It was a moment that spoke volumes about the immense pressure she was under, even on her supposed happiest day. A honeymoon postponed. Immediately after the lavish wedding, Albert flew off to Berlin for climate talks, while Charlene began a hospital tour of the Riviera. The palace press office, ever diligent, issued daily updates. Princess learns Monegasque. Princess christens yacht. Princess cuts ribbon at zebra enclosure. It painted a picture of a busy, engaged royal. But behind the scenes, the reality was starkly different. Charlene struggled with migraines so severe she sometimes wore sunglasses indoors. The transition was clearly taking a toll. Then, in 2014, the couple announced wonderful news. They were expecting twins. Jacques and Gabriella were delivered by surrogate in California, a decision made, reportedly, to protect Charlene's health. Monaco breathed a collective sigh of relief. Succession was secured. However, the joy was short-lived. New headlines soon detailed Albert's third paternity claim. A deeply unsettling development, especially as it was filed while Charlene was on bed rest. She reportedly refused to let the child carry the Grimaldi name, a stance that caused significant friction inside the palace for years. This incident underscored the ongoing challenges and the complex personal dynamics within the royal family, even as they presented a united front to the world. May 2021. Charlene made headlines for a dramatically different reason. She shaved half her head in a punk rock style and flew to South Africa for rhino conservation work. What was meant to be a short trip turned into a 10-month absence. A severe sinus infection after a scuba dive quickly spiraled into multiple surgeries, preventing her from flying home. As her absence stretched on, rumors bloomed like algae across the internet. Speculation ran rampant. Renegotiated marriage contracts, secret exile, a psychological collapse. Albert, for his part, gave calm interviews, insisting she just needs time to recover from her profound general fatigue, exhaustion, both emotional and physical. Meanwhile, Charlene posted poignant selfies with a feeding tube and hashtags like #StillFighting, attempting to control her own narrative amidst the swirling gossip. Back in Monaco, the void left by their princess was strangely filled with giant murals of her painted by school children, a poignant testament to the public's longing for her return. When she finally returned in March 2022, it was a carefully orchestrated moment. She stepped off the plane in a tailored suit and face mask, hugged her children on the tarmac, and then promptly disappeared into quarantine for further recovery. The couple eventually emerged together at the Monaco Grand Prix 3 months later. Holding hands for the cameras, a clear signal of reconciliation to the public. Tabloids called it just that, a reconciliation. But sources closer to the palace, perhaps with a touch of weary cynicism, simply called it Tuesday. Beyond the personal drama, this marriage has profoundly impacted Monaco. The twins, Jacques and Gabriella, are crucial. Monaco's constitution bars illegitimate offspring from the throne. So, their birth stabilized a dynasty that, for a time, seemed to teeter on the brink of extinction, ensuring a clear line of succession. Economically, the wedding was a boon. Tourism boards credited the wedding year with a significant 27% spike in luxury bookings. The Prince's Palace, once more private, now opens 75% of its staterooms to the public after Albert's substantial €300 million restoration. Project he quietly funded by licensing the family's art collection for NFTs. It's a savvy blend of tradition and modern finance, making heritage accessible while generating revenue. Charlene, too, has made her mark. Her foundation actively bankrolls swim-safe programs across Africa, leveraging her past as an Olympic swimmer to address a critical issue. Last year, She even auctioned replicas of her wedding tiara to fund 1.2 million measles vaccines, demonstrating a powerful commitment to global health. Locally, public approval of the royal family has seen a significant jump, rising from 68% in 2010 to an impressive 84% in 2023, according to a Nice Matin poll. This suggests that despite the controversies, the Grimaldis maintain a strong connection with their people. Yet, critics still argue that the principality, for all its glossy public image, continues to hide behind banking secrecy. They suggest the royal marriage, with its undeniable spectacle, provides a convenient and glamorous distraction from these deeper issues. Bert's response, in a 2023 CNN interview, offers a glimpse into their perspective. "We evolve in public. Like any family only, our living room is on a balcony. It's a pragmatic, almost defiant statement, acknowledging their unique, exposed existence." If this story shocked you more than you expected, hit like so YouTube knows royal truth bombs deserves shelf space. Drop a comment. Do you think Charlene's tears at the altar were happy, terrified, or both? And subscribe for more royalty videos that don't bow to palace press releases. $70 million, 2 legitimate heirs, 3 acknowledged half-siblings, 1 extended African exile, and endless mascara-stained headlines later. They are still married, still waving from balconies, still selling out palace tours at €18 a ticket. What do we make of it all? Was it a fairy tale come true? A cold, calculated merger of convenience? Or perhaps a complex, messy bit of both? Maybe the real answer is hidden in Charlene's own words to the Wall Street Journal last winter. "I don't live in a storybook. I live in Monaco." The chapters keep writing themselves. It's a powerful, almost melancholic admission. The water surrounding the principality is turquoise. The diamonds are undeniably real. The pressure is relentless, and the cameras, as always, never blink. The marriage of Prince Albert and Charlene isn't ending. It's simply refusing to fit the neat, tidy page limit we want for it.